Hello everyone, and this is Flammamancer coming to you live from the Matrix. So, as you can tell by the name of this channel, this is a channel dedicated to defrauded students, which is to say students that had gone to a school that had lied to them about things such as the cost of education, or the quality of education they'd receive, or the transferability of credits, and so on and so forth. If you want to learn more about that, you can watch some of the other videos on this channel, or go to Google and type in, say, ITT Tech or Corinthian College for endless amounts of reading material about fraud schools and how they scam people out of a lot of money with no value in return. So anyways, today I want to talk about, take a rant on about videos that I've been seeing lately about that are from people that are unsympathetic to our cause, people that have student loan issues, people that are wasting away their lives trying to pay their student loans. And what has not changed since the 2000s is that they still think that we're a bunch of idiots and that we make bad choices and do things without any research and so on and so forth. So the basic argument that I keep hearing about is that well, we deserve the hole we're in because we're just not too bright, we make bad choices. And I'm here to disagree and explain why, and talk about some more about these the contents of some of these videos. So anyways, the video that I think really takes the cake that I've watched recently, it's more recent, a few months away from the making of this particular I'm working on right now, is called $150,000 in student loan in debt for useless law degree. And in it, he has these two prime examples of the people that he's talking about, who, well, I'm guessing by the video itself, it looks like they're the kind of people that watch too much TV and have a fantasy of getting a degree and going to a high-rise office building in New York and living the high life there, I guess. And like I said, that's just my assumption. I really don't know what they were thinking. But so yeah, I mean, sure, a percentage of people with student loan issues are not making the right decisions. I understand that, but there's also a lot of people that were making what at the time appeared to be good decisions, and so you can't just sweep everybody under the rug under the same level of, well, that we all just make bad decisions. So, to start with, the group that making appear to be good decisions, I'll start with well, what happened to me when I graduated in early 2000 with a IT degree. I did not know that there were going to be a surplus of people with information technology degrees and a shortage in compared to that number of jobs available. I mean, you have to remember that we had a 1990s mindset when it came to computers, and we just believed that the information technology field would just keep growing and growing and growing, along with the personnel to man what was the field. And so at that time, we thought we were going on good data. We had read all these magazines claiming that there'd be this huge job growth, and everybody better be ready with an IT degree, otherwise they're going to miss out. Now, of course, I was actually trying to play it smart by starting my studies when I was very young, doing things like going over to visit my friend's house after they had bought some database computers from an old hospital, figuring those out. Learning some programming languages so that when I would go into college, I wouldn't be going in with just a basic understanding of how to use a mouse and a keyboard. So, yeah, I was trying to play it smart. But another thing, too, is that when there's a surplus of people with degrees, is that it's very difficult to highlight yourself out from the crowd and demonstrate that you're the one with the talent. And so, anyways, like I was saying, the people going in at that time wasn't seen as a bad decision. It wasn't until after I got out that there were people like, yeah, good luck. And so, but that's not the only field that was like that. Pharmacists the field of pharmacy, pharmacist, whatever you want to call it. I don't know exactly what the terminology is. That field went through the same thing. Just Google, say, unemployed pharmacist, and you read about how the pharmacy field went through the same thing, where they predicted in the media a massive demand increase in coming years. A surplus of people went and got their education, and then found themselves unemployed afterwards. Same thing happened with law, as is demonstrated in the very video that I'm talking about. And like I said, I'm not here to highlight this particular video and say that this is the bad apple. It's just that this video that I'm talking about, $150,000 in student debt for useless law degree, it takes the cake, and it just shows what I commonly see in other ones. But anyways, the same thing happened to law. The media went out with this claim there'd be a huge increase in demand for people with a law degree, and then a whole bunch of people went on and got law degrees, and then there was a surplus of people with the degree versus the number of jobs available. And you'd be hard-pressed to convince me that the people who were making these moves, that they were going in, getting a college education without some amount of belief that they'd be able to find employment afterwards. Now you might be asking, okay, well, so what? Why should we be providing some kind of relief for these people? I'm talking about bankruptcy options, or in some cases, student loan forgiveness. Well, I'd say it's just like any other. It's like a business, okay? I mean, in my local area, there is a textbook example of what I'm talking about is for the need of bankruptcy, and that is that they, before the housing crash, a lady had started a business. And then after the housing crash, other people were able to start up new businesses at half the cost. I even bought my own house at half the cost the original owner paid for it because of the housing crash. I bought it after the housing crash. So what was happening is new competitors were coming in after buying new properties, and because they had a much lower payment now, because at least in my area the cost was cut in half pretty much across the board. Their monthly payment on their business loans were much lower. They were able to lower the prices. They drove them right out of business. And what's funny, not too surprising, is that after they were driven out of business and forced to file for bankruptcy, I mean, they took it to the extreme to try to keep their businesses alive. I knew the owner. They even tried to move into the building, move into the basement, and live in there, try to keep their business alive. That's the extent they went to, how serious they were. But it wasn't enough. She got competed out, had to file for bankruptcy, and the initial asking price, because they're trying to, the bank wants to try to salvage as much money as they can out of it. It was going for $1.6 million, and I just could not believe that, because basically what the business was being run out of a formerly very large house. And then after price was renegotiated, it sold for half, and then somebody moved right in and they opened up the exact same business, and they're running it successfully now with no downturn in sight, and all of it was just because the economic winds blew the wrong direction. And nobody shames this person for filing for bankruptcy after things went south. But for some reason, the people that are unsympathetic to our cause about seeking some kind of relief from our student loans, whether, like I said, it'd be bankruptcy or student loan forgiveness, they treat us all of a sudden for some strange reason like we're the teenagers that jacked up their credit cards, and now we need to be forced by the good parents to get extra work and pay that credit card down because if we don't, then we're just not going to learn our lesson or something to that effect. Or that's the way I get when I talk to other people about this. And believe me, I've talked about this many times, both on the internet and in person. That's just the impression they give me. So, anyways, you might be asking, what's the case for bankruptcy if there's no collateral? And I'd say, well, you can declare bankruptcy on credit cards, and nobody cares about that. I mean, people even make stupid decisions regarding credit cards, but when they'll jack them up buying junk, and then they'll put them in their bankruptcy, and then they'll discharge the debt that way. And like I said, there's no outcry about that either. So next thing about the case for why some sort of relief should be provided to people with student loan issues, which is to say, again, people that are wasting their life away paying the student loans, is that bankruptcy, and okay, in particular, I know it doesn't necessarily apply to student loan forgiveness, but bankruptcy is necessary, and I'm going to say this again, necessary for capitalism to function. All right, and why is that? Well, if you Google capitalism and bankruptcy, you will read articles about why it is, and in the most compressed format that I can tell you, it's because in capitalism, you need people to take risks. You need Elon Musk to get the big business loans and make the risk to drive the economy forward. You need Bill Gates to, again, take the big business loans and move the economy forward. Actually, I probably should say Steve Jobs. People like Steve Jobs and IBM and all that, they did more. But you need people to take the risks to build the industries so you can get work, right? And so denying that to people that took the risk with a college education is doesn't make any sense. Okay, I know it sounds strange, but you needed me to take the risk with the college education and try to make the information technology field grow. I know that it's easy to sit back now with hindsight and say, well, I don't see why you should get any relief. I mean, after all, you're not helping anything right now, and after the fact, it looks kind of silly. But you have to understand, though, that the people that are building the field now with their college degrees, you needed them to take that risk. And so if you don't, going on about the need for bankruptcy, if you do not provide people with some kind of relief from their loans in the event of failure, they won't take the risk. All right, and then the economy will come stagnant because people are too afraid that they'll end up like people with student loans things. Okay, what's going on with people that are going through student loan difficulties in a capitalist system should not be happening. Okay, because people are looking at people's student loan issues and they're saying to themselves, well, I don't know if the risk is worthwhile because I don't want to end up like them. All right, it's no different than the business loans too. We want to provide bankruptcy options to people with the business loans because we need them to take the risky ventures sometimes. And you got to remember that businesses have a very high failure rate, and nobody's complaining about that. Nobody's saying, well, we need to withdraw bankruptcy options because of the fact that the businesses have a high failure rate, and therefore we need to take it away from them. Now, if any of you have doubts that there are a lot of people out there that believe that people like this that made this video think that we're all just a bunch of morons, I'll let him quote himself, okay, from his video. There's a short clip, part of it where, and in case anyone's wondering, I'm not quoting this out of context. Okay, if you watch the whole video, you understand that I'm not doing that. But there's a small part of it where a politician basically makes the case that student loan issues are not our fault, and then he says that it is, and that it's the result of a bad choice. So I'll play it real quick just so you can listen to it.
Student debt is not the result of bad choices or behavior.
No, it's the result of bad choices and behavior.
Okay, so there you had it. He just said it. We're people that have student loan debt issues are the result of bad choices and behavior. And okay, and I know that maybe if he was here talking to me, he'd say, well, I'm being more specific about these people that are here in this video. Well, okay, yeah, I understand that, but he's presenting it as if though we're all a bunch of idiots. Even if we were to talk to him right now and he'd say, well, let me break it down a little bit more. I understand that some people have a more honorable goal when they're going through this. But yes, I understand that. But like I said, he's presenting it that way, that we're all a bunch of morons. So anyways, I guess I'd end with here's what I would want to challenge people that are unsympathetic to our cause. Okay, when you talk to them, the number one fix that they propose, all right, there are other fixes that they may propose, but the number one is to get the government out of student loan lending. Okay. Well, the government can't do that because of the bad debt that bad student loan debt that it holds on to. They can't. They need to be able to transfer the whole thing to the private sector. So they can't transfer the bad debt, and so therefore they can't do that yet. And the way it's working right now is they're just kicking the can down the road with the income-based repayment stuff. I would tell people not to be fooled by that because, I mean, okay, put it this way: where are they going to get the money to pay for all that? I don't see anywhere where they mention where they'd get the money to pay for it. So I think it'll go the same way as the public student loan forgiveness, which is to say that when the bill comes due, the administration at that time, they'll try to find some other way to not pay it. And then some, well, go on IBR again for another 20 years and maybe the next administration will. Because that's what Trump is doing. I mean, as much as people may love Trump, he's just kicking the can down the road like any other politician does. What needs to happen is if in order for, like I said, in order for the idea of moving it to private lending to work, you have to deal with the bad debt. And in order to do that, guess what? You're going to have to start providing bankruptcy and student loan forgiveness. You got to get rid of these bad debts. And as much as you may cry and whine about it, people like these two ladies on this video, they're not going to pay. All right, they're not paying it. We are going to pay for it. You're talking to a person here. I'm paying my student loans. Okay, it's just that well, I can't stand to see something like this melt the world, melt the USA away, I guess. And so I'm speaking about it because I mean, if I can help change the world in one way, and I know a lot about this issue, then I'm going to work on it. But anyways. Yeah, the two people in this video are not going to pay for it. We are, as much as you may moan and groan about it, and as much as those people, there are people out there that their solution is that we need to increase the number of ways to force them to pay up, because they're so obsessed with the idea that that the taxpayers are going to pay for it. Well, it works the same way in the private sector. I mean, the reason why your interest rate on your credit card might be 10% is due to the fact that there's a lot of people that don't pay. That's why you're paying, say, 10% is because the interest is needed to cover bankruptcies. That's another reason why there is interest. Okay, so yeah, I want to hear it from the people that that want to move it to the private sector. How are you going to deal with the debt other than just kicking the bad debt that needs to be eliminated before it can be transferred to the private sector? How are you going to do that without allowing bankruptcy and student loan forgiveness? And I want to hear the case also as to why bankruptcy should not be allowed. Because whenever I talk to people online and offline, they keep using the words bankruptcy and student loan forgiveness as interchangeable and the exact same thing when really they're not. But I've heard people say directly. They said allowing student bankruptcy on student loans is the pathway to socialism. I've heard them say that. So I'd like to hear the case is how would you handle the student loan bubble, people with student loan issues? How would you handle it? And I want a full plan. I don't want some partial plan. I don't want you to just say, we'll move over to the private sector without explaining just exactly how you're going to do that, how you're going to make it work. And I also like to hear the case as to why bankruptcy shouldn't be allowed on student loans. Other than there's no collateral, because again, there's no collateral on credit cards either, but we love bankruptcy on that. And whenever these businesses close and they file for bankruptcy, the bank very often takes a hit on it, a loss, because yes, even though there is collateral to take back, the person very often borrowed more than the business is worth anyway, and they still take a loss. So, I don't see the difference on student loans either. So, yeah, I want to hear the case. I want to hear a full plan as to how to deal with the issue, and I also want to hear from people that are unsympathetic to our cause why bankruptcy should not be allowed. So, let's hear it. Flame Mancer out.